Okay, and we're live. So, welcome into our latest Last Minute podcast. We're here to talk about our sponsors of the Race for Justice, who have been our sponsors for many years, which is, of course, is Coughlin and Gerhart. We're going to talk about the annual 5K run. But I want to introduce everybody first. My name, of course, is Alex Simon, Director of Development and Communication. With us is partner Rachel Abbott and partner Lars Mead of Coughlin, of our title sponsors, Coughlin and Gerhart. Also with us is Arlene Sanders, Managing Attorney of our Pro Bono programs across our 13 county service area in Central New York. I want to thank you all for joining me. Of course, we mentioned the race. It'll be virtually this year. Starting October 15th, participants can name their own course and record their own times, all while helping Legal Aid Society of New York. We are a non-for-profit law office that provides free civil legal services to those in need. So first off, question to our guests. I'm just curious about Coughlin and Gerhart, and I was looking on the website. You guys have a long history in the Southern Tier, so talk a little bit about your history of the law firm, how it's evolved, and the types of law you practice today.
Yeah, Alex. So we started out back in the 1890s as a small firm in Binghamton, New York, and I think a multi-service firm. So as things come in the door, the attorneys would try to take care of those things. And over time, we've grown into an office of over 50 attorneys. And we have, I think now, 8 smaller offices in addition to our Binghamton office, which services a lot of rural communities. I think we span 5 or 6 counties now. And we do everything from, say, divorce work or doing a will, to court work and being, in the courtroom with civil litigation or helping businesses develop their business on the legal end of things. So we handle pretty much anything, and we enjoy servicing our clients.
Is it a pretty competitive environment in terms of what you do and the law firms out there that you compete against? And then what kind of separates you guys from some of your competitors?
You want me to take it, Rachel? I mean, I'll take a stab at it. Well, so of course, yes, the legal marketplace has become more and more competitive, and people have a wide range of choices in the Southern Tier about attorneys for everything from their real estate closing to the creation of a business, or if they are unfortunate and suffer an injury in terms of who will represent them. I think, our motto is relationships built on results, and that's really something that we take to heart. When we take on a case, the idea is that we are partnering and teaming up with our client, and we try to get to know the client because in that relationship, you can understand what the client's ultimate goal is, and sometimes you can provide them with thoughts about an outcome that they may not have had ideas about when they came to you. That includes things like cross-marketing between our different departments, as well as just having a knowledge of likely outcomes for them, what's available in terms of resources out there, how their case is likely to be determined in the courts, how the opposing party is likely to view it, and all of those kinds of things. Really, we have a wealth of knowledge and experience, of course, but we also try to partner that with developing a real human connection with our clients. And I think that's probably the things that we would say separate us from some of the other firms.
Cool. Piggybacking on that, what are some cases that you're most proud of?
Yeah. I think back in the cases I'm most proud of. I was thinking back actually to a pro bono case I had many years ago from legal aid, from Arlene's office, where there was a pretty serious domestic dispute issue and not a lot of money to get a divorce. And for me, it was somewhat, you go through and you do the paperwork and you get to know the person. And at the end, I got a very nice thank you card that was handwritten, and it made me realize how much of an impact we do have in people's lives, and that bringing that situation to conclusion for her and her kids just meant so much to her. And I kept that note, and it's just a constant reminder to me that what we do is just so important to the individual person and their lives.
And I think I would echo that some of the cases that we're most proud of are probably ones that wouldn't appear on the banner at the bottom of a personal injury firm's website. But certainly we have some of those cases as well, of course. But a lot of them are the smaller cases where maybe we took the case when other people wouldn't have taken it. And in terms of dovetailing with the goals of the Legal Aid Society, when an attorney does that kind of thing, it gives a voice to people who might not otherwise have one in our system. And that, in turn, helps our society be a more fair place for everybody. And so that's certainly part of our mission and some of the things that we do take a great deal of pride in.
And Arlene, can you talk a little bit about, why pro bono work is so important and, the necessary need for, the pro bono pipeline, I guess, in Legal Aid Society, and then also why it's really necessary in the current justice system?
Yeah, sure. We have plenty of attorneys and staff, but even so, we just cannot meet the need for the civil legal services among the low-income people in our community. And no matter how hard we work and how many cases we take, we can't meet the need on our own. So it's critically important for us to have the support of firms like Coughlin and Gerhart to step in and work with us to take on some of these cases. And, like what Rachel described, these cases really change people's lives and couldn't be done without their help. So we're, very, very reliant on the private firms and private attorneys, from solo practitioners all the way up to including large firms like Coughlin, who take cases. And Rachel mentioned hers, I think, was a divorce, but we have attorneys taking divorces, child support, bankruptcies, end-of-life planning, housing cases, a whole range of cases for us.
I'm going to transition a little bit to the race. How did you get hooked up with Coughlin and Gerhart, Arlene? And how many years ago was it?
So this year, the virtual race will be the 6th year. So we started the races in 2015, and Coughlin was just really a natural fit for us. They had already been very supportive of legal aid, very supportive of our programs, and also very involved generally in the community, as well as people like Lars and some of the other attorneys and staff who were themselves interested in and participated in races. They lent and were able to, provide us with their experience to help plan the race from the start.
And why did you start the race, Arlene?
Why or when?
Well, both. Because you were, as we were talking yesterday, you've kind of been the ex officio race director for so many years. But why and when?
Yeah, so the first race was in 2015. And before that, I had been on the board of another not-for-profit, and one of their fundraising events was a race. So I helped a little bit with that, and it was interesting to me. I enjoyed helping with it. And it just seemed like something that would be fun to do for legal aid. So, it ended up being the planning of the race ended up being a bigger project than I anticipated. But it was really a fun event to start. And I really love the fact that it brings in the community, and people over the years have started to look forward to it, have, been aware of when it is every fall in the October timeframe, and it's just grown over the years.
It's your baby.
Well, we can do Alex.
Alex, I can tell you from a sponsor standpoint that Arlene has been a fantastic person to work with. She has really gone above and beyond in terms of providing us, number one, with some exposure as a title sponsor, and number two, with making the race really an enjoyable event for everybody. It's a very relaxed, I would say, non-competitive type of an event. Although we have been able to get a little bit of competition going amongst the firms. Lawyers as a whole tend to be a little bit on the competitive side. Mm-hmm. And from at least a participation standpoint, the law firms have done a reasonable job in terms of providing some participation in the race. But then Arlene also has put together a team of people who help to organize the prizes and everything that goes on with the event itself. And so it really makes it quite a fun few hours to come down and spend supporting the Legal Aid Society.
You mentioned something interesting, the competition, and I just wanted to kind of tie that into, and maybe both of you, Rachel and Lars, could answer this, but the competition amongst attorneys is naturally you want to win your case. And then there's also kind of this that you were talking about, Rachel, in some of the cases, and this perseverance that happens. Like, it seems like it's, when dealing with the legal system, it's a constant kind of like pushing back and running. I think all of us have run before. You hit like a wall, and you don't want to go anymore, and then you kind of go through that wall, and maybe you get to find your stride and keep going. So like, this is kind of a natural fit between attorneys and running. Can you guys talk about that? Does a good percentage of lawyers run?
You know what, I would take this and say this, that yes, there's certainly a parallel there. There's an analogy that you're drawing that applies between really any human endeavor, right, and exercise. But the thing I would take a step back, particularly in this COVID environment, where we're all kind of dealing with additional stress, and whether it's running or walking or any kind of physical activity is such a huge part of helping people's mental health. And just in a normal year, being an attorney can be quite challenging. And time management, of course, is part of it, but just the stress in general of dealing with the challenges of being a practicing attorney. Exercise is a huge antidote to all of that. And the idea that this event can play a role in a motivation for us as a legal community to be active, and to be active together, I think is a great positive ancillary benefit of putting on a race like this. And the other thing that I would emphasize is that while certainly there are some of us who have run the race every year, I've also walked the race. And we really encourage it here at our firm. I've got, I don't know, Arlene, I'll be sending them to you, but at least 15 to 20 people have signed up with their families. So it's really a full participation event for anybody that's capable of covering the 3 miles. And this year, it'll be very interesting to see where people do their 3 miles, because you could literally walk around your yard, I suppose, if you wanted to, or a park or any place that you like to get outside. So it's a great event. The concept that we're supporting is really a positive one for the community, for all of the participants. Bringing attention to Legal Aid Society, it's a win-win-win type situation.
Do you have anything to add, Rachel?
Well, I was gonna actually. Lars took some of my steam away there, but I was actually gonna say I personally am not a runner. I don't enjoy running, but I enjoy walking, and I think that things like this, especially now, it's a great way. I'm planning on doing it with my kids, and getting the kids out and away from the screens, because everybody who's dealing with this right now, the kids are just glued to their screens for school. This is a great way to just kind of reconnect. And I already have my little Dorchester Park 3.5 miles all kind of mapped out, because I know they do 5Ks there every once in a while. So running the path and then up by the school and back is a 5K. So I think that's just is going to be fun to do. And maybe I'm going to have to push the kids up the hill a little bit, but that's good for them, to just kind of push themselves a little bit.
Yeah, I think you mentioned an important aspect that everybody's dealing with, which is continuing to broaden and expand our mental health. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the pro bono work, because Rachel, you touched on it, the fact that there's benefits to pro bono work that are not necessarily just vanity type of things. So I guess, can you expand on that a little bit, about the work of pro bono? And then Arlene, if you could talk a little bit about the broad benefits of doing pro bono work.
Yeah, I think, when you do some of the pro bono work, and in my experience, it's been mainly the divorce work, but I also know that we will help with some of the tenant landlord issues that arise. And I know Legal Aid does a lot of other types of law for people. You see people in these situations that, could they try to do the divorce on their own? They could, but man, it is confusing. And when you don't have the resources, how do you ever get through that? The courts require a lot of language in the documents. There's a lot of issues that have to be addressed. And I don't even know how someone who has no legal training even starts going through that process. I know people try and they end up coming to me and it's, messed up, and then I got to fix it. Whereas if they had just come to me first, it would be easier and less expensive. But with the pro bono work, you really help these people get through this process and get to the conclusion. And they're so happy that you help them. It makes you feel so good to be like, okay, I've solved your problem. And sometimes it's not easy. I remember one a long time ago. I don't know if Arlene will remember, but I was trying to help this gentleman be divorced, get a divorce, and we couldn't find the wife. She was homeless. And we tracked her down, and I could have sent that back to Legal Aid, but I really wanted to finish it. I really liked the gentleman, and we ended up tracking the wife down. Finally, it took us a while, and we finally got her served with the papers so we could get this divorce done. And he came back several months later and asked me to come to his wedding. And that's one of the reasons why he wanted to get the divorce finished, was he had this fiance he had for several years, and she wanted to get married. But he didn't have the financial resources to do that. So he was like stuck in place, So helping him through that and then getting to go to the wedding after was just really cool. You really can make a difference for people. It just makes you feel really good. And this is worth it. This is why I went to law school.
Oh, was there a follow-up question for me, Alex?
Yeah, I guess what would you say? And Lars and Rachel, you could answer this as well. But like, what would you say to like a colleague that's like, I'm thinking about doing some pro bono work, or I've got some time, I want to put in some pro bono work. I know there's benefits. I guess that's what I was going to talk to you about, Arlene, as far as CLE credit and some other stuff. But
Great.
What would you say to like an attorney that's like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing some pro bono work, but I don't know. I think I've got some time. Is it really worth it?
Well, I can tell you that when attorneys come to us and they don't really know exactly what they might want to do, we have not only a range of kinds of cases that we can offer attorneys, from, as I had mentioned before, ranging from divorces to bankruptcies to housing to wills and such. But we also have a really wide range of ways that attorneys can volunteer. Some attorneys really don't want to take on a big, complicated case. Rachel has done those kinds of cases, and other attorneys at Coughlin do take on extended service cases like that. But some attorneys would rather do a clinic, would rather just do some telephone advice and counsel. Maybe they're willing to go to court, but just, as an attorney for the day, and not take on full service. We have all of those different kinds of opportunities. So we just basically try to accommodate what it is our attorneys are interested in, and the time commitments they have, and the ways that they would like to participate. And we provide a lot of support. We have a lot of student volunteers who work with the attorneys. We collect documents. We provide continuing legal education credit and malpractice. And we provide pro bono recognition for outstanding attorneys and firms. And just recently, we nominated Coughlin and Gerhart actually for the New York State Pro Bono Service President's Award. Only one firm each year in the entire state, mid-sized firm category, gets that award, and they won. And of course, it was well-deserved. We have many attorneys that deserve awards that don't get them, but we try to provide whatever support and accommodations we have to make it a really good experience and a rewarding experience for them.
That's awesome. I want to talk a little bit. I don't want to toot your horn too much, Arlene, but you got some good stuff going on. I know you just got a Pro Bono Innovation Fund grant from LSC for $200,000+. You've been working. I know you had a relationship with Cornell University to do some landlord-tenant work. You talk about some of the things the Pro Bono program has got going on, and then just kind of expand on some of the I guess, like I said, programs you've got.
Sure. Yes. We've been very fortunate recently to get two big grants. One, as you mentioned, is the Pro Bono Innovation Fund grant from our federal funder, Legal Services Corporation. And that grant will help us expand bankruptcy services in our service area. So we're excited to start that. And we recently also found out that we've gotten a grant from the Office of the Attorney General, New York State Office of the Attorney General, to expand housing services, particularly for those that are dealing with COVID and dealing with evictions. So we're going to, both grants start today, actually. So we're getting really geared up and busy with those. We this summer had a great opportunity to partner with Cornell University School of Law. Their students were interested in working on a hotline where they would advise tenants, particularly those impacted by COVID. And so, because a lot of the eviction programs were kind of, there had been a moratorium, so our volunteers weren't as busy as normal. What we did was we had them work with the students and mentor them. And so over the summer, they sort of shifted, and went from, going to court and being involved in the evictions to actually mentoring those law students and helping them advise tenants on the hotline. And we had Coughlin and Gerhart attorneys involved in that as well.
Okay. That's all my questions for today. Do you guys have anything to add? Did I miss anything? Anything you want to touch on?
Can I show you the shirt from last year?
Oh, yes.
I've got it here. We'll have another one similar, a different color, but this is what the beautiful shirt looks like. And the sponsors, many, many, many
Oh, wow.
on the back. And I did want to mention, because it's a virtual race this year, which, by the way, people can participate over the course of a month, Alex, right? From October 15th
Yep.
to November 15th, and choose their course, run or walk. But in previous years, we had some sponsors that really won't be able to participate the same way because they were supporting the race with either advertising or being a DJ. So we had, for example, Confluence Running as a major sponsor, and they provided race photography and the big awards packages. We had, as a DJ, Russ Swanger, Russ the Big Guy. For the last 5 years, we had Magic 1017 and Dana Potter, who did a live radio broadcast. And we had Roseanne Sol Advertising, who did all of our materials. And we had, and we'll have this year, Hacker Threads we will have a shirt. And so Hacker Threads and Red Barn Technology Group has always done our shirt. So they will be doing a shirt again this year, and all participants will receive one.
Awesome. Lars and Rachel, what's the best way to, if someone wants to seek representation from Coughlin and Gerhart, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Probably to call our main desk phone line, which is 607-723-9511. Our website, of course, also has ways to reach out to different practice groups and inquire about representation in different cases.
Okay. And if someone wants to sign up to be a pro bono attorney at Legal Aid Society?
Yep. So they can sign up right on our website, lesmany.org. They can just give me a call.
Okay, cool. Yes, lesmany.org. There's a link. There's a sign-up form on the website. And I want to thank both Rachel and Mark and Arlene for joining me today. You can sign up for the race, lasmany.org/5K. And thank you all for being on. And look forward to seeing the race photos from everybody.
Thanks, Alex. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Alex. Thank you, Arlene.
Bye,
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Have a nice day.